Hey, what's up guys? This is PokerXpress, and we are back with another episode of Poker Hands. Before getting into it, I would like to ask you guys to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy our videos. Let's jump straight into the action.
This time it's my favorite hand, King Queen. Let's see how the champ plays it. He's in the cutoff. Looks like he is going to raise it, makes it 170,000 to go.
Over to Ryan.
170.
He folds now to Alana.
Alana, not a lot to celebrate there with just 4-6. Quickly into the muck. Over to Sean Roberts.
So just mirror has Sean been extremely quiet at this final table, both in his play and in his demeanor.
Sean is just kind of keeping it close to the vest right now, hoping to hook into a big pot here.
And he does make the call out of the big blind. And so two past HPT champions going at it on the flop. Here it is. It's 10, King, 4 with a couple of hearts.
Both these players hit a little bit of this. Greg has top pair. Sean has second pair.
Sean checked it over to Raymer. And Raymer's going to bet 180,000.
Call.
And Sean makes the quick call with his pair of 10s.
Call.
So this pot now approaching $1 million in chips with Sean's call. We're at 780,000.
I fear Sean is stepping into an abyss right now.
We're going to turn. It's another king.
Even better for Greg. He's got trip kings now, and even better, he's got Sean betting into him.
180,000 is the bet.
And with those two hearts on the board, I don't know if Greg's just going to flat call this. He might re-raise.
Re-raise.
And he does. He re-raises to 400,000. Not a huge raise.
400K.
Just enough to keep Sean interested.
Maybe thinking about getting Sean to the point where he's going to get himself overextended here with the flush draw. If he makes the call, he won't have much left on the river if he misses.
And I think Sean realizes that this is the moment right here. He's either got to let go of the hand or put all the chips in the middle. That second king on the turn there might make it a little tougher for Sean to put Greg on a king.
Sean played a couple of years as a professional after his last HPT win, and now has gone back to work saying, you know what, it was fun, but I just like being a part-time poker player. Too much pressure, he said, in the professional poker life.
I have shared a lot of felt time with Sean Roberts in the cash games around the tour, and he's definitely got some skills, more than me, which isn't saying a lot, but he can play. Sean is going to make the call and go a little bit deeper into this hand.
I think we're both a little surprised there by the call.
Yeah, I am too. I thought that he would either lay it down or push him in right there. And look at this river.
Wow, quad kings now for Fossil Man. And Sean goes all in. All you're doing is betting into the absolute nuts. And that is going to do it for Sean Roberts.
Trying to pull a bluff from out of position on the flop, not something I would recommend. Maria?
I think it works when your players don't realize that that's your go-to line, you know. I think it's something if you're willing to follow through with the whole way, could actually work sometimes. You know, maybe he could have tried floating Vermeer out of position there. It wouldn't have worked, but I'm saying you can't always fold to the aggression because most likely you're going to get raised when you try to bet into the pre-flop raiser, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have a hand.
Well, Vermeer once again does it again. He raises this time from under the gun to 95,000, and Stan Jablonski right behind him goes all in with pocket nines.
This is very standard for Stan and his stack to go ahead and go all in here with the nines. And I don't see Vermeer calling him because although Stan was short, he does have 13 big blinds still, and Vermeer's hand is just not good enough for him to call.
And a fold by Phillip.
Well, action's folded around. We're on Jonna now, and she goes all in with ace-king. I don't know if the all in with ace-king here is too prudent. I mean, we can see that she's got a pretty good thing going against the nines and against the king-7, but when you see a raise and then a 3-bet on top of that, Does Ace King shrink up to you on the button?
I gotta say though, with Jana's stack, even though Ace King is still a drawing hand, she does have to put it in here.
All right, well, Vermeen gets out of the way, and we see that Stan is going to the flop ahead, but Jana, with the best drawing hand in the game, absolutely has outs.
It's a flipper. Yep.
Jana hoping to hit.
Right in the window.
Oh my goodness! Flop comes 9, Queen 9. Jablonski flops quads. Maria, that hand usually wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Jana needs the rest of the deck in order to win, and she's only gonna get 2 more cards, and she will be drawing dead here, and Stan will be doubling up.
Yeah, the turn and river are insignificant, and as my friend to my left says, Stan is gonna double up, and that's a much-needed double up for him.
If you enjoy our videos and would like to see more, make sure to check out the links in the description. Also, make sure to comment below what you would like to see next, and we will work on your ideas as soon as possible.
And now over to Al in the 1 seat. He's got Ace Jack.
And undeterred by the last time he 3-bet Chuck, he decides to do it again. But I think Al would do well to remember that if you want to 3-bet somebody who's willing to 4-bet you light, then you have to be willing to 5-bet shove with hands like Ace Jack.
Let's see what ends up happening. Action's been folded around back to Chuck. It's $225,000 to call. Let's see if Chuck is gonna fire that 4-bet again. It did work last time. But this time he's just gonna call.
And I like how Chuck is mixing it up, especially since he is in position and apparently feels like he could outplay Ardashir heads up post-flop. So, see what happens.
The flop is 8, King 8, Rainbow. Great flop for Chuck. And with his image, Al might put him on a bluff here. Al is going to stage some chips and fire here. Makes it $350,000 to go.
Al's going to put out a continuation bet here. He thinks he could possibly still have the best hand.
And I think Chuck is just going to smooth call here and string him along, and that's what he does.
And this is kind of the beauty of when your player can't put you on a hand. There's no way that Ardashir would think that Chuck is calling him with 8-5 here.
And the turn is an 8 of clubs. Now Chuck has quads. Luckily for Al, he's going to slow down here and check.
And if I were Chuck, I might be looking to check back here. You know that if you bet, you probably won't get called unless Ardashir has a king. And he does do just that. I think he's hoping to go for a value bet on the river.
The river is a 10. Fortunately for Al, he has none of this, so he's going to go ahead and check. Expect a value bet now from Chuck, over $1.5 million in the pot.
But because Chuck did check behind on the turn, I think Ardashir might be willing to look him up with ace high, wondering what he could possibly have. It's hard to put him on quads, obviously.
Well, Chuck put in a baby bet in relation to the pot size, just $325,000.
Call.
And you're right, Maria. Ardashir is going to call and look him up, and he's going to see that Chuck has the quads. And I think you have to give credit to Chuck for just the perfect bet sizing there on the river to where Al had to make the call.
Very, very impressed so far with how Chuck has
Continuing on here, four-handed at 40 and 80,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. You know, Daryl on the 1 seat on the other side of the table here with just 23 big blinds. I learned from our reigning player of the year and your friend Greg Raymer that is a good 3-bet shoving stack size.
Definitely. That's a stack size where you still have plenty of fold equity, and also if you ever double up with that stack size, you become quite dangerous.
Bruce Nee's going to open up here to 180,000 with King 10 offsuit. Daryl quickly folds, and now we're over to Bob Chow, who looked at his cards a little bit early. He's got Ace King. Again with the Ace King. We've seen Ace King a lot at this final table. First time in this week's episode, but last time, at least 4 Ace Kings popped up.
Yeah, and Bob's going to go ahead and 3-bet to 380K as we've seen him do before. And this is where I think Bob's image is going to help him, because although Bruce is on the tighter side, it looks like he is going to call Bob's re-raise with an inferior hand.
You know, 10 King, one of those hands that look really pretty, but easily dominated.
Yes, it gets you in a lot of trouble sometimes, and it looks like Bruce is going to be in a whole lot of trouble if a king does flop.
Here comes the flop. It is 10, 10, 5 with 2 clubs. Bruce has hit gin on this flop.
And Bruce has flopped trips here with King 10, but it's Bob who's going to continuation bet with the Ace King, and it looks like Bruce is just going to raise all in, and I really would like to see Bruce slow play, especially against someone like Bob, but I guess Bob doesn't really need much to call him.
It wasn't that much more for Bob to call. Bruce is all in, and he is about to see the bad news that he's pretty much crushed here, Maria. He's going to have to hit running clubs, I suppose, to pull this one out.
Yeah, I think that Bob was putting Bruce on a draw, and he called pretty quickly. He had a lot invested, but now he's going to need a lot of help in order to knock Bruce out.
You can't suck out all the time. Come on.
Queen of clubs would make it.
Looks like Boo's even kind of rooting for Bob here. Oh, but that's going to do it. The turn brings a 10, giving Bruce quad 10s. And Bob starts cutting out the chips to match Bruce's stack here.
I will say, though, I've never seen someone like Bob who's actually still smiling when he loses a pot.
Nice settlement. The cash, Maria, $89,484.
James looks down at King 3 offsuit, and he limps in.
Over now to Steve. Looks at 5-4. Talk about how your hand selection changes so much when it's just heads up.
Yeah, I think that you have to probably be limping in on the button with a wide range of hands. There's definitely very few hands you're probably going to fold on the button.
And this is one of those reasons, as the flop is 2 4s and a 10. Nice little flop there for Steve. And wow, look at the turn card. Another 4.
The flop goes checked around, and now Steve has quads, so he's just really hoping that James has something that he could call with if he bets.
Well, it's been a while since I've seen quads on the show, Marie. I'll be honest with you.
Can't fault James for thinking King High could be good here.
It's a 100,000 chip bet and a quick call. River card now, the 6 of diamonds. Is there really any better feeling than having quads playing poker at a final table for life-changing money?
Steve bets 150,000. We'll see if James wants to look him up here with King High.
Little value bet out there, making the pot just over 500,000 chips.
I wouldn't blame James for calling here.
And he's going to make the call. And Steve's going to show his hand. Steve played that pretty well, Maria. I got to give him credit there. I like the way he played that hand.
Yeah, quads are real hard to play.
Probably not. I said nice bet on.